Hello, and welcome to FIDM's Blueprint Designing Your College Life. I'm so thrilled to have you here with us today so that I'm able to not only help you prepare for your time at FIDM, but to get excited about it. FIDM is located in the heart of downtown Los Angeles in a little neighborhood called the South Park District, and I have been lucky enough to watch this community grow for nearly a decade now. My name is Caitlin Benson. I'm part of the events team here at FIDM, but I've worn many hats, and most recently I came from student activities where I got to connect with students on a daily basis, run the on-campus clubs and magazine, and show them my favorite parts of FIDM life. And I'm excited to share that with you all as well tonight. We have a really exciting program planned. And afterwards, I'd like to invite all accepted summer and fall 2021 students to stay on, connect with some of your future classmates, and enjoy a private Q&A with our panel today. The first person that I'd like to introduce you to is Fanny, who's going to show you my favorite part about FIDM, our beautiful park.
Hi, everyone. My name is Fanny Ramirez. I am the Senior Social Media Coordinator here at FIDM. I have my AA in Visual Communications and my BS in Business Management. I took some time to start my career in social media after I graduated FIDM, and now I'm back, and I'm super excited to share some of the best parts of campus, and that way you all can hopefully get a better visual of what it's like to be here in Los Angeles. So I'm going to go ahead and flip my camera so you can see where I'm at. This, of course, is the front of FIDM, and if we do a quick pan, you are at Grand Hope Park. So this is one of the best places, I think, to hang out with friends, get some fresh air, really just spend some time in between classes and get re-inspired. Even though we are in the heart of downtown LA, something that's great to know is that we have 24-hour security here. That way all of our students can feel safe and just feel welcomed in Los Angeles.
All right, thank you so much, Fanny. You may even recognize that park from some commercials that get shot downtown, or you may recognize the building as the hospital in private practice. So it's a pretty fun place to be. And it's just a good spot to go hang out with your friends, eat lunch, or you're gonna have your orientation on the FIDM Park. I'm sure if you're a summer or fall student, I remember a lot of times in student activities doing all the orientation events on the park and having water balloons out there. It's a whole lot of fun. So I know you're gonna be excited about it. My first guest this evening is Sarah Weber. Sarah and I met through the LA Conservancy, but now she works for the Association of California Symphony Orchestras. Welcome, Sarah.
Hi, Caitlin. Thanks for having me. Hi, everybody.
Thanks for being here. Can you tell me a little bit about what the Conservancy does and also what you do now in the arts and culture sector?
For sure. The LA Conservancy is a historic preservation nonprofit, and I worked there for about 4 years as the director of education. And really their goal is to help people appreciate, understand, raise awareness about all the amazing historic places in Los Angeles, and to help advocate for those places to be a part of the city's future. There's lots of change and development in LA, and there's no reason that historic buildings can't be part of that and continue to be a thriving part of Los Angeles. So it's a really great organization, and it's headquartered in downtown LA, not very far from FIDM. They do programs all around the county, but a ton of walking tours in downtown LA, which I can talk about more, but would highly recommend for anybody coming to FIDM or at FIDM. They're great tours.
I have definitely been on those architecture tours before, and they're so incredible and inspiring. Just the architecture dating back from, Art Deco and the Beaux-Arts period to, you know, even the Walt Disney Hall, the Frank Gehry architecture. It's really incredible. And I think our students benefit so much from being in a place that is just so full of inspiration. So what made you fall in love with the city?
Well, like many people who haven't lived in Los Angeles, I had tons of preconceptions about what it would be like, mostly from, you know, what we see in the movies or hear about from the entertainment industry or Hollywood or whatever. And even though I'd been to LA a few times, I didn't really know it. So I did not know what to expect moving to Los Angeles for this job, working in historic preservation. And when I first moved to LA, I lived downtown and I worked downtown. And I have to tell you, I wish I didn't have so many preconceptions, because it so exceeded what I thought LA would be, especially downtown. It is such a walkable neighborhood. And I really hope that all of you will consider downtown LA sort of an extension of the campus. It's probably one of the most walkable neighborhoods in Los Angeles. It definitely feels like a neighborhood. It but it has that kind of big city feel. I sometimes hear people from New York say that it's the one part of LA that they like relate to the most, because it feels like a very walkable city. But it's seen such a renaissance in the last, 15 years or so. As people have moved in, and a lot of these old buildings, beautiful old buildings, have been turned into from offices to residences, and tons of new buildings have been built. Lots of them in South Park, right around FIDM, lots of new construction. It has become this really cultural mecca of the city. And it kind of relates to my job now. I run a nonprofit that works with orchestras all around the state. We're down in downtown LA, our headquarters. And LA has an incredible arts and culture scene. That's so many walkable arts experiences in downtown LA. And I really hope that you all will check out kind of what's around the Walt Disney Concert Hall, the Music Center, Grand Park, MoCA, which is the Contemporary Art Museum, the Broad, which is another contemporary art museum right across the street. Frank Gehry is currently building an amazing new kind of work, live, entertainment extravaganza up around Disney Concert Hall. So there's this corridor of arts experiences. Again, super walkable, but there's there's galleries all over downtown Los Angeles. It's a real mecca for independent working artists.
It's perfect for design students, and a lot of the stuff is free and
or super low cost.
Yeah, student ticket prices, which is incredible.
And I have to tell you, for creative people, like I assume all of the FIDM students are, downtown LA is super inspirational. The architecture, the arts experiences, just the kind of vibe of the city, and feeling like you're in this very amazing neighborhood that's really diverse, because there's so many sort of sub neighborhoods around downtown Los Angeles, Chinatown, Little Tokyo, that the food is great. It's a very inspirational, creative space to be. And I think having the campus where it is so lucky and fortunate. So I guess the answer to your question is, I didn't know what to expect when I moved to LA, and it blew my mind. It's not all Hollywood. It's not all kind of the stereotypes you think. It's a really amazing community of creative people, and amazing stories and amazing architecture. And you can learn the history of LA through the architecture. And I just encourage people to, again, think of downtown as an extension of the campus, because it is your playground for sure.
Right. And I think one of the really cool things about downtown too is, like, in comparison to the rest of LA, it's so centrally located. So you can take the train out to Santa Monica Pier, you can go up to Hollywood. Everything feels like it's just 30 minutes away. And so as a student, if you have free time, I think it's the best location to be, just because there's so much fun stuff going on.
That's right. It's a transportation hub. Union Station is downtown, as well as tons of metro stops. So you can get to any other part of LA pretty easily. So you don't have to feel landlocked in downtown LA. It's pretty easy to explore the city as a jumping off point. Yeah, for sure.
Now, are you someone who takes the public transportation and who's sort of experienced that part of it?
I I moved out of downtown and I don't have a metro stop super near me, so I don't as much. But when I lived in downtown, I took metro all the time because it is a pain to park in LA and lots of parts of LA. And if you can get somewhere on the metro, I mean, one of the things I did a lot, I went to Pasadena quite a bit when I lived in downtown because it's pretty easy to get there. But also the Pantages Theater in Hollywood, where I love to see musicals, direct route from downtown
Yeah, exactly.
to the front door. And so that's another stereotype about LA is that, you know, you have to drive everywhere. You don't, especially if you live in downtown. Metro is right there.
Right. I used to live right down the street from FIDM, and you're right. It feels like such a small neighborhood. I mean, I would see the same neighbors and the same people all the time. And it was just it's kind of comforting. Like you do think of it as this big city, but it's really, in comparison to New York, it's not a big city. Mm-hmm. It's relatively small, and you could probably walk all of downtown in under a day, like within an hour and a half or 2 hours, practically from one end to the other.
Yeah, it's very walkable. You can get your arms around it. It doesn't feel overwhelming, but there's everything. I mean, everything. The library is amazing. If you like sports, Staples Center where the big arena is right there. I mean, everything is in downtown LA. It's an excellent spot which is what I did to start my LA, life was in downtown.
Right. Well, thank you, Sarah, so much for joining us this evening and for, imparting your vast knowledge on LA to us. We really appreciate it. And I hope some of the students who are listening are going to take you up on some of those ideas. So.
For sure. And I'm going to plug them again, the Los Angeles Conservancy. You can go to their website, or maybe someone can drop it into the chat. They have, I don't know, half a dozen architectural walking tours that are like $10 or $15. They're on the weekends. They're so good. If you want to even just get your bearings and like kind of get the lay of the land, the docents are really great. They're the best way to learn the neighborhood is through those tours, and also to like get inspired by the architecture. I cannot plug those enough for folks new to downtown.
For sure. Well, thank you so much for joining us tonight, Sarah.
Thanks for having me.
Of course. All right, we're going to go back to Fanny, who is at another great part of the campus, our library. So as you can see, she's in the library right now. And our library is not only that, it's also our Idea Center. So anytime that you need any tutoring help on campus, you can go check out the Idea Center. I think the most unique aspect of FIDM's Library Connection are actually our fashion forecasts. It's not generally available outside of the industry, and we subscribe to multiple forecasts so that our students will be able to be familiar with those resources if their employer needs them to be. We also subscribe to Vogue and Harper's Bazaar, which gives our students digital access to every Vogue and every Harper's Bazaar ever printed. You guys, you could spend 4 years at FIDM and not get through all of these print pieces. It's so cool. But my personal favorite part of the library is actually our large collection of sustainable and innovative materials. It just helps you see what's on the cutting edge and think outside of the box with design and construction. In fact, I was up there yesterday and they have just the coolest amount of things, but my favorite piece was a piece of leather made out of pineapple. So if you get a chance to check out the Materials and Connections Lab in the library, I highly recommend it. It's so incredible. And Christine, who works there, Christine Upaslea, is just a wealth of knowledge. So thank you, Fanny. All right, so my next guests are Raj and Heswa, who are our resident advisors.
Hi.
Hi, ladies. How are you?
Hi, we're doing good. So I'm Heswa.
And I'm Raj. Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you so much for joining us tonight. So dorm life is a little bit different than your typical college dorm. FIDM has contracts with 3 buildings located in downtown LA, the Met, Broadway Palace, and G12, all of which are no more than 3 blocks from campus. And I'm so excited for Raj and Heswa to tell you a little bit about them. They all have pools and gyms and lounges, but Raj or Heswa, can you tell me, do students get to decide on where they want to live? And do they get to decide on their roommates?
So students, sorry, if it's incoming student, if you're new to housing, you can't request a property. We choose that for you, or sorry, yeah, we choose that for you, but you can request roommates. So what a lot of students do is they meet on the Facebook app, which is
It's basically a place where like students can go ahead and connect and talk to each other. But a lot of the times, students get placed randomly, and that usually works out a lot better. For example, me and Hespa are placed randomly, and she's one of my closest friends now, so it always works out. When it comes to just living in student housing, a lot of students I think get really nervous about like, oh, living with other people and meeting new people. But I think it's a great place to meet other students. And I think
Right.
you really get to know what it's like living with other people, and you find out a lot about yourself. We as RAs, we actually go ahead and do like a contract. So it's almost like a mediation at the beginning of the quarter. And we basically like set a bunch of ground rules. And if you have anything to talk about, if you like living a specific way, we go ahead and discuss it with the students. So it's all very like open. You get to talk to everyone. It's really nice.
Right. So
However,
if you have someone who, like, for example, wants to, have a bunch of like smelling candles around the apartment and someone else doesn't want to, you can just put that in the contract and avoid a sort of altercation later on, right?
yeah, exactly.
That's
Well,
great.
going back to the question that you asked earlier or in the beginning, students that are renewing housing. So if you're a second quarter student, you can actually request a property, and
Okay.
you always have the choice to request roommates. So
It sounds like each of the properties though have really great sort of amenities. The fact that they all have pools, gyms, and lounges. I mean, what more could you want if you're living in Los Angeles, right?
exactly.
It's super cute.
And are either of you from Los Angeles? Where are you from originally?
So I actually come from Houston, Texas.
Okay. And how about you, Raj?
And then I'm from Fresno, actually. So it's only like 3 hours away from here. It's not bad. It's definitely been different for both of, I mean, for me, it's been a little bit different just because Fresno's a little bit more rural, I guess. But it's really, I mean, I've loved downtown LA. It's really, really nice. There's always something to do.
What was something that both of you did to kind of adjust because it was such a different environment? Did you go out and explore on your own? Did you join some clubs in student activities at FIDM? What was something that really helped you?
Personally, I used to work with Caitlin, actually. I used to work on campus at student activities, and that was like the best job I could have ever taken because I'm currently an RA, as you guys know, and I got that opportunity through student activities because Jeanette's office is actually right next to it. So it's actually really, really nice place to meet new students. I was involved with PTK and also student council, and it was nice. There used to be a variety of students. We used to host a bunch of different events, and we always used to have snacks, which was great. And that was the way that I kind of like got to be involved in campus. And I truly have met a lot of cool people that I still keep in touch with.
For me, it's just making friends. Like,
Yeah.
and honestly, being an RA actually like got me out of my shell, and I made friends. And now it's easier to start a conversation with people because now I meet new faces every quarter. So I got over being shy and
Yeah.
timid. However, I think meeting friends and making friends and just being open to meeting people, it's gonna make it easier on your half, on your, what is it? Yeah, on your half. Because I mean, once you make friends, those friends want to go out and explore, and it's just fun.
It's crazy because everyone at FIDM talks about networking, but you never know like where your roommate might start working or where your roommate's friend has been working. So it's a great way just to get to know people.
Right. And you both, well, Raj, you have a job right now, and Heswa, you are in our debut program. Huge congrats to you on that. And you have an internship at Monique Lullier. And Raj works at Sephora. Tell me a little bit about how you both balance that, because I know that FIDM is demanding academically, and especially for you two, because you both have to maintain a 3.5 GPA to be resident advisors. So it's demanding academically. You have your internships. That's why you're doing debut, which feels like an 80-hour-a-week job from the looks of it. what do you do to kind of balance that? And do you have time to also have a social life?
My social life is Rod.
I think that's a good thing, is that like once you're friends with your roommate, like I think we help each other out. Like when I see her struggling or when I see myself struggling, I think we both kind of recognize it and we take a step back, because school can get overwhelming. I think it's really hard, I'm gonna be honest, balancing everything. But honestly, this is like the perfect time to manage. I mean, this is like where you get to learn time management,
Exactly.
I guess, because it's kind of like, okay, so I don't know, it's just good to live with other people that recognize it, and you kind of get to take a step back and just kind of see like where you need to cut back on. And FIDM's actually great, because if you ever feel super overwhelmed and stuff like that, we also have personal counselors. So I know we both have just talked to someone if we really, really needed it, or we even have each other. So
That's so good. And that's a great reminder too, that the personal counselor is not just there if you're having, bigger issues, but she's there too if you just need to blow off some steam or kind of talk through something. You can just make an appointment at her desk, right? Which is so convenient. So my last question for you two, what are some events that you guys do as resident advisors with some of your residents? I know that you have some things during the quarter to kind of get everyone in your buildings together. What do you do, and have you seen people make friends that way too?
So before the pandemic, we used to have events where students would get to socialize, and we would like to host events where where students would like meet other residents, and maybe they'll be painting something or doing a craft or maybe watching a movie, maybe pizza night, or
yeah, we've done like a variety of events.
Yeah.
I think some of our most popular obviously involve food, because like students just really like free food. So I mean,
the food is so good downtown too, right?
Exactly. So I think some of the events have been really popular is that I think it wasn't last fall, but the fall before that, we did like a 90s theme or early 2000s themed like event. And it was for all the new students. And it was so exciting because we did like sushi and everyone got to dress up, and it was just like really exciting. And then I know we've also done like, I believe it was like a couple years ago, but we did the Cinco de Mayo, like we did a Coco movie night. So that was like a lot of fun. A lot of students turned up for that. And it was just really nice to get to know everyone and kind of enjoy some new experiences together.
And now we just sent them like little treats like, hey, good luck on finals, or hey, like we're here for you. Here's a little something because we thought about you. But we're really looking forward to having in-person events again.
Me too. So can you show me a little bit of the apartment that you're in, so that students can get an idea? And of course, like they said, you won't be able to choose which apartment building you get, but they're all really great and they all have their benefits. So take it away, ladies.
Perfect.
Okay.
So I'm just going to
just give us a minute to connect to.
Sure. They're going to flip their cameras around, hopefully connect to the Wi-Fi there. And I will add that, there's a lot of great things around all of the apartment complexes too. So every single one of them is close to a great spot to eat, lots of gyms. The grocery stores are really close by. So it's, no matter which location you get, you're going to be excited about something there. So. All right, Rajan Heswa, can you show us around a little bit? Hi, ladies.
Okay. So we're actually in one of the units here at BP, which is Broadway Palace. And here is the layout. So we're standing right in front of the entrance.
Very nice.
Here's the kitchen. Here's just so that you can have a good idea of how big the kitchen is and the space. When it comes to dividing space, us RAs, our job is to make sure that everything is divided and making sure that everyone has equal amount of space. And then we have our living room here.
And then the living room furniture differs in every unit, so it's not always the same.
Okay.
And then here's the dining table. Believe me, it's not that small every time.
And then we also have the laundry.
Raj can show us the laundry. So it does come with in-unit washer and dryer. So that's
fanciest. That's the fanciest thing to have when you're in Los Angeles, right?
And then here is the layout of one of the rooms here. So we do have one desk, and this is something that we do discuss during our roommate contract and how students are going to be dividing using the desk. We have the dresser, nightstand, 2 twin beds.
And then the closet.
We have the closet over here. I'm sorry. So most of our closets here at Broadway Palace are walk-in closets. So they tend to be very spacious. And then here is the bathroom.
So even though students have to share this, it all is really spacious looking. And it's pretty nice that you get this sort of apartment lifestyle as opposed to a dorm lifestyle like you would in a lot of other colleges, right? Where you would just have the room that you were sleeping and then, you know, everything else would be a community area.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's something I really enjoy about Broadway or just FIDM housing in general. The fact that you don't have to worry about leaving your unit to go shower or leaving your unit to go do laundry or cook. You have everything like in your unit, you know, so it's independent living with
Right.
dorm.
Right. It must be pretty exciting too to see how everyone decorates their space differently.
Always.
Yeah.
Yes. So us or as RAs, we always talk about like the cutest units and how they decorated, and it's just interesting. Every unit that we walk into feels different.
I have to agree with that.
Right. Yeah, I'm sure that there's a lot of really cool looking places, especially given how creative our students are. So you guys are pretty lucky that you get a little sneak peek of that, huh?
Really are lucky.
I know.
So thank you both so much for taking time and joining me today. I know that you'll be at the end too when there's a little Q&A. We have a question here. Is FIDM 2021 debut fashion show going to be online in August? Heswa, do you know the answer to that?
Yes, I do, and embrace my heart. It's not, it's gonna be virtual.
Yeah, it'll be online. That was the question, online in August. So yeah, it'll still be really great though. We'll still be able to see everything that the students have done, which will be incredible. So
Okay.
I can see Jeanette, our housing director, is answering another question. And let's see, are all apartments 2 people or can you have more roommates than that? Rajan Heswa? Oh, we might.
Sorry, we just switched back over to the computer.
So
But
That's okay.
But in total, there's usually 4, 4 people in each unit. So 2 students in each room. Sometimes we have a private student if you want to have like your own room, and then it will just be 2 students here and 1 in the private.
Perfect. Okay. Thank you so much. All right. Well, I am going to say goodbye to Raj and Heswa for now, and we're going to go back to Fanny to show us another part of campus. So Fanny is now in the student lounge, which is used for a variety of different things. Any sort of events that will be on campus are here if they're not out in the park. Students can hang out here, eat their lunch, chat with friends between classes. So yeah, it's just a great space to kind of hang out and enjoy your break time between class. Thank you, Fanny. All right, and now we are going to talk to 2 students who are in student activities, Farah and Chaslyn. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Hi, Caitlin. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, of course. So Farah, I knew you actually when you were in PTK. I met you on your orientation day when you came into student activities. You were like, I'm signing up, I'm ready to go.
Exactly. When I was a little baby.
Yeah. So Farah, why don't you introduce yourself and tell what part of student activities you're a part of? And then Chaslyn, please do the same and give us your majors as well.
Of course. So hi everyone, my name is Farah and I have been at FIDM for 2 years. This quarter I'm actually graduating my associates in fashion design. And then I just got accepted to our bachelor's program in business management that I'm going to be starting next quarter. So I'm super excited about. As Caitlin was saying, yeah, I signed up my very first quarter. When you go into student activities, it's actually right by the student lounge that she showed. You can't miss it. Our doors are always open. And the best, of course, is there's also free food, which is always a plus. So of course, when I first walked in, open arms, we accept everyone. And you'll notice you'll kind of find your niche depending on the different clubs that we offer. I'm barely knowledgeable in PTK, which is Phi Theta Kappa. It is an honor society that we have. It's pretty much the closest thing to Greek life. And I'm actually the president. So if you guys have any questions about that, definitely let me know. It's a great environment. And the best thing that I could probably say about student activities, it goes for all the clubs, is it's a great place to meet people outside your major, because you'll notice as you'll have your general studies that you'll start meeting people outside, but as they slowly get smaller to the specific class for the specific major, you'll be seeing the same people. And so it's a great way to then connect with other people outside your major and even people that you could potentially see working with in the future. So I definitely would recommend that. We have a bunch of different clubs too that we offer. I was saying a great place that you can look actually, because you'll be able to see it on campus when you guys start signing up for classes, but you can actually go on our website for fidm.edu. You'll just click student life and then you'll see student activities with all of the organizations that we have. Our two newest ones that we just had this year is our Black Student Union and Future Leaders in Beauty.
Thank you so much, Farah. I don't mean to cut you off, but I'm going to actually have Chaslyn talk about BSU because she's highly involved in that. She's our vice president. So Chaslyn, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your life in student activities and how you've made connections with people.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone. I'm Chaslyn. I am a merchandise product development major, and I'm actually in my last quarter of my associates. But just like Farah, I'm going to be continuing to the bachelor program. This fall, actually, I'm going to be starting digital marketing. So super exciting. Kind of like Caitlin was saying, I am involved in our Black Student Union. I'm our vice president. And we're actually coming up on our 1-year anniversary this July. And it's actually our biggest club at FIDM right now. So super proud of that. And then for other clubs that I'm a part of, I do so much. I'm a part of FIDM Mode, which is our student magazine that's run by students for students. I've been doing modeling for that. I actually just got off of a call right before this with them. And then I'm also in our Social Ambassadors Club, which is basically a bunch of content creators at FIDM that come together to create content for FIDM. And actually, pre-COVID, we did so many fun trips. We went to conventions. I know they went to BeautyCon. I went to Disneyland. So that's a lot of fun. And then lastly, I think, what am I missing? Oh, also FIDM Best Friends program. If you come to FIDM and you feel like you need a friend or like a mentor, we have this program where it'll pair you with a mentor. And I'm actually one of the mentors, which is really fun. So there's a lot of clubs, like she was saying, it's a great way to get connected with other students and make some friends.
So it sounds like there's really something for everyone. How do you find your place within student activities? Farah, I'll go to you first. If you're kind of feeling a little homesick, you're not making any friends right now. How do you sign up for the clubs? How do you become a part of them? And how do you find which one is the right fit for you?
No, of course. So we actually have I guess you could say almost like a fair that we have that you guys will all get notified for orientation, and you'll have each booth of the different clubs that we offer. So you'll be able to in person talk to us, ask about any questions that you may have. I know it was a great experience. I went to every booth, and it's something that it's funny because you'll know like the minute you step up and you start talking to someone if this is the club that you want to join. So I definitely felt like Phi Theta Kappa was perfect for me. And I was also reading to some of the requirements that people are asking about joining PTK. Some of the requirements that we have is because everyone is welcome. We do require a 3.0 GPA. And then we also require that, of course, each of you guys can show up to as many meetings as you are able to. It very much is doable. We meet actually every Tuesday during lunch. So if you have an 8:30 class, you're supposed to end at 11:15. And so we go from 11:15 to noon, and then noon, you'll start all of your classes if you do have some. And then another requirement too that we also have is 6 hours of community service a quarter. It is very much doable, and we partner with a bunch of different organizations, and we'll even go as a group. So you'll be able to get your hours in.
So it sounds like you definitely found your niche of people. Chaslin, how did you become VP of the BSU? And what kind of connections have you made that you feel like will really benefit you later on too? I mean, you're continuing your education here, as is Farah. So sounds like things are going really well.
Yeah, so Black Student Union was kind of started in quarantine, which is so crazy and I think so powerful. One of my friends and I, she's the president, her name is Evan. We were just talking, and it was kind of in a time when there was a lot going on with our world and with our country. And we were like, why don't we have like a Black Student Union? So we wrote up this proposal. I think it was like me and like maybe 20 students. And we sent it to, I think, whoever was head of student activities at that time. And we were able to get the pitch approved. And like, we just were able to start right away. We found an advisor, and it was just like a really fast process, but a really fun process. And yeah, that was last July. So
that's amazing too, that you're able to have that connection even in quarantine. You know, I think like sometimes the beauty of student activities, right, is because you're on campus, and student activities is just where you go after class because you have some free time, but you're really speaking to how powerful the clubs are and how strong the connection is if people are willing to log on during quarantine to make these connections, which is incredible.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So one last question for you both. And I'm gonna share my favorite event too from student activities because they hold a special place in my heart. But I want to know, what is the most fun event that you've been to that you had such a great time? I have to say, I really love Halloween every year. I love to see all the students dressed up. They walk the catwalk. There's, judges who give out prizes, and all the departments compete too. I know, like, our marketing and our education department, really everyone gets involved. So that's a really fun event that I love. I'd love to hear what is your most favorite event. Farah, why don't you let me know?
That's a hard one. I love all of them. I mean, we just hosted a meeting this morning and we did nail art. So we were able to do that.
Nice.
So, I mean, we offer a lot of fun different activities. I think my most favorite that we've done every year is we actually host a wellness fair in the student lounge, and PTK is the one that hosts it. And so everything is decorated pink, and we have different companies that will have their own booths set. So there's like, you can sign up for like boot camp classes, and they'll give you like a student discount. I even saw a psychic there, and she's actually really accurate. So there's just a lot of booths that I think was one of my favorite, just because it's also, I've noticed, a great place as well to kind of meet people that could even lead to jobs, because we also offer a job fair. So there's a lot of different connections that we offer that I always recommend. Any activity that you're able to go to, student activities, I recommend it, especially since it's during lunch. So
awesome. And Chaslin, what about you? What's been your favorite event?
Yeah, mine is probably a little more broad, but for every holiday, there's always something going on in student activities. So around Christmas time, I remember we decorated cookies, and I think we made like gingerbread houses. And then for Valentine's Day, we actually did Palentine's Day. So they had like a bunch of hearts, and everybody made each other cards. So they always just have something going on, like during like seasonal holidays, which is really fun. And honestly, I was just kind of like walking past the room and saw it and figured I would stop by. Those are usually kind of like the most fun.
Right. So it sounds like a really good spot to be if you're maybe homesick too. I know we used to do the Thanksgiving dinner and student activities also. So there's something for everyone, whether you want to join a club and weekly be a part of an organization, or if you just want to come in and get a snack and a cup of coffee, you're more than welcome. So thank you ladies both so much for joining me and answering some of my questions. I know we'll see you later in the Q&A as well. So we'll go to Fanny now, who is at another part of campus that is just full of inspiration. Fanny. So Fanny's at one of our design installation windows. The visual communication students actually put this together. They do 2 windows per class that stay up anywhere from 4 weeks to a few months. They do all of the painting, the lighting, the construction, the styling, the props, and they do it all on a very minimal budget. And the cool thing about this is that all of the windows around the 4th and the 5th floor at FIDM are completely different. So, I mean, talk about the inspiration that you're getting from just city life in downtown LA, but then all of campus is so inspiring as well. So it's just a really cool place to be as a creative. And if you're ever having a dull moment or kind of a day where you're not feeling great, I highly recommend going and checking out the windows. I just did that the other day because I wanted to see what they were up to. So thank you so much, Fanny, for touring this for us. All right, so now I'm going to pass it off to Jennifer Clark. And again, I encourage all of the students who are accepted for summer and fall, stay on, meet your future classmates, meet your future business partners, perhaps. You never know where this connection is going to lead. So Jennifer, I'm handing it off to you. Thank you all so much for your time tonight. I've really enjoyed this.